Welcome to the Small Town Tourist, the podcast. I'm your host, Abby Graves. Today we're going to be talking to my friend Aaron Clafton. He's a singer-songwriter, originally from the Sauk Rapids area. He currently resides in Nashville, Tennessee. I met Aaron a couple of years ago via the radio station I work at, and Aaron is back home in Sauk Rapids for the holidays, and it's always great to catch up with him when he's in town. So please enjoy this time we have with Aaron Clafton.
Then we all agree that this little town has got its ups and it's got its downs, but growing up somewhere else around wouldn't beat this place. Yeah, that's my hometown.
Hello and welcome to the Small Town Tourist, the podcast, experiencing and exploring everything that makes small towns great. Today I am joined by my friend Aaron Clafton.
Hey Abby, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
It's been a minute since we've got to catch up.
It has been. I think Firefest 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh, it's been 2 years now, yeah.
Well, besides on like Instagram,
True.
We've sent DMs and text messages and all that sort of thing.
But it's nice seeing your face in person.
Yes, it is.
So you're originally from the Sauk Rapids area.
I am born and raised.
And currently living in Nashville.
Yes. It's quite the difference, but I love it down there. So I've been there for 6 years now, and Nashville feels like home, but definitely feels like I have two hometowns a little bit at this point. Like I've got Nashville, and then I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back to Sauk Rapids. And then when I'm in Sauk Rapids, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back to Nashville. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic between the two.
Does it mess with your mind when you say, oh, I'm heading home, and then you're like, wait, am I going home?
Which home am I talking about? Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like I was texting some friends yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'm ready to head home. And then I'm like, wait, to Nashville. Like I have to decipher the two.
Your Tennessee home.
Yes.
Tennessee mountain home. Like Dolly Parton.
Right. Oh, such a good song.
So, grew up in Sauk Rapids. What was the experience like growing up in the Midwest for you? Like, what was your favorite part? Did you have certain activities you were involved in?
Yeah. So my favorite part about the Midwest is just I love being close to my family, and my family has a cabin in northern Minnesota where we would go fishing, hunting, doing that whole thing. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of lost interest in those types of activities. But like I grew up playing hockey, and being outdoors was always something that I was drawn to. And obviously the music community is something I fell into when I was in high school. Yeah, I think just the outdoors here is like nothing compares to it. Like, and I tell all my friends down south, I'm like, if it snows down there, like they don't know what to do. You know, and I'm just like, oh, if we were in Minnesota, we had so many options. Like we could go snowshoeing, we could do ice fishing, we could do all these other things. Whereas down south, you're kind of just stuck inside.
Over an inch of snow.
Right, with your bread and milk that we cleared out from the grocery stores.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my cousins are home from North Carolina this week, and they've been living down there for like 10 years now. And they drove up here, so they're on their what they call Southern tires. They're like, there's no tread on these things. How are we supposed to get anywhere?
That's hilarious. That needs to be a TikTok.
It really does. Missed opportunity. I should have been filming. I should just set up cameras on Christmas and cut apart all the funny things that happened.
You would have loved editing that, I bet.
Oh, I would still be editing. I'd be editing till next year at this time.
Gosh. Yeah, I need new tires. Like living down south, you can ride those out way longer than you can up here.
What a luxury. So what made you finally make the big jump to Nashville?
Yeah, I think so. When I was 16, I entered into this CMT Music City Madness competition, which was like a songwriting based competition. And I submitted a video of a song that I wrote, which was terrible looking back, it was terrible. But at the time I was like, man, this is the best song I've ever written. And I ended up making it into the top 64 of people in the world who entered their songs. And I had got to go on the radio. I got to be in the St. Cloud Times.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, like this might be something that I could make a future with. And like, obviously growing up in like the early to late 2000s, like Taylor Swift was a big thing. And obviously, like, she inspired me to, like, oh, like, if you're 16, like, you can go and write songs and make a career at this young of an age. And so that kind of was in the back of my mind. And obviously, I loved people like Brad Paisley and knew that they were all in Nashville. And when I was 16, I convinced my parents to take a family vacation down to Tennessee. We did Memphis, Nashville, and Gatlinburg. Got to do Dollywood.
Oh yeah, you can't go down there and not do Dollywood.
Yes. And so we visited, and I was like, okay, I could maybe make this work. And then my parents were big proponents of having a backup plan, so I went to college at BSU and graduated, and then knew in that entire time frame of like, okay, after I graduate, I'm moving to Nashville. I'm going to get a job using my degree, and we're going to try to make music kind of an afterthought, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lived at home with my parents after graduating for like a year or so, and saved up money. And then on St. Patrick's Day of 2016, I was like, okay, let's do it. We're doing it. And packed up and moved. So
full send.
Yes, full send. And it's been, as of the last like 2 years, I've been fully committed to music as like my main focus, which has been awesome. And I have to thank the pandemic for that, because if that never had happened, I never would have had that realization of like working full time and having music as like an afterthought. Like at the time, it didn't feel like it was an afterthought, but looking back, it was.
Yeah.
And so it's such a blessing to be able to. I mean, I have a part-time gig where I'm parking cars as a valet. And
do you get a cute little vest to wear while you do that?
It's pretty basic uniform, just black polo, black pants. But I get to pick my schedule. I get to write during the day, which is what I've always dreamed about doing. And I get to like come back to Minnesota and play shows, and it's awesome. And I've never been happier. So
that's wonderful.
yes.
All those silver linings that have come out of the pandemic, it's incredible. Like you said, I mean, if it weren't for the pandemic, who knows where you'd be at this point.
Right. Yeah. And it was definitely tough getting there, but you have to like kind of go through those little rough patches to get through to the good, you know? So
what's the process like of becoming where you're at now? Like, how do you get to be writing songs during the day? Is it just a matter of sitting by yourself and doing this? Do you have like a crew that you work with?
Yeah, I have a close-knit group of people I collaborate with like on a regular basis. And it all started from just like playing writers rounds down in Nashville and going to networking things and shaking hands and just introducing yourself to people. And it really is a tight-knit community down there, which is another thing that's similar from Nashville to, I mean, even Sauk Rapids, is it's a small town, especially if you're in music, because like it's really condensed. It feels like high school, but it's not. That
small community, especially coming from that and then moving down to Nashville and finding that community, that's got to be such a good feeling.
It is. And I mean, it took me a while to like kind of find that core group of people. Like, it isn't moving to any city, but I think it made me more comfortable knowing that like it's not as big and scary as like New York or LA, or I mean, heck, even Minneapolis is bigger than Nashville. But
is it really?
It is. It's so much bigger than Nashville.
Are you kidding? I've always pictured Nashville as like this big city.
Yes.
Maybe I just watched too many shows about bachelorette parties down there.
Well, and like, I mean, the downtown scene there is crazy. I mean, there's nothing like it. Really, like the downtown area is so small. And like, I mean, we only have like, we have the Titans, we have the Preds.
Yeah.
Those are like our only two like professional sports teams. We have soccer now.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool and up and coming. So, but yeah, it's like, I remember getting there and like, I was there when I was 16, I think like 2009, maybe? No, I don't know.
Math is
hard. When I was 16, I was down there and I was like, oh, this is massive. Just because like, I mean, coming from Sauk Rapids, St. Cloud area, it's like anything's big compared to that. And when I officially moved, I was like, oh, this is it? Like I had like Nashville down, like I could get anywhere after living there for like a month. And I feel like if I moved to Minneapolis, I'd be like, I have no idea how to get anywhere.
I lived in the cities for a year, and if it was not for my GPS, I would not leave my apartment because I wouldn't know where to go.
There's so many one-way streets, and you're just like, where am I? And then Nashville, there's like only 2 one-way roads.
So it's actually like it's a small town.
It really
That's
is.
blowing my mind.
And like what I love about it too is like I can drive 20 minutes and I can be out in the country. Like I can be out where there's like farms and open fields and sort of thing. And I feel like if you lived in Minneapolis, you have to drive like at least an hour.
Yeah, because you got to get through the suburbs
Right.
and then.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I really love that about Nashville is like I can be out in the woods in 30 minutes from downtown. So
I am learning so many new things about Nashville.
yes.
Because, I mean, you always hear, like, Jason Aldean and all the big names going, oh, it's such a small community. And you're like, yeah, for you, because you have, like, a team that you work with and that's your community.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it's actually a small community.
It is. It is. It's so wild. Like, I remember I had been living in Nashville for, like, a year. I was at, like, some fast food restaurant, and I went inside to get my food, and some kid behind me goes, oh, hey, Aaron, right? And I'm like, how do people know me? Like, I feel like such a small fish in this big pond, but it's wild. It's wild.
So you're making friends down there, and are people like, we all know how Minnesota nice is. Like, we say hi and we wave and talk about the weather to every stranger we encounter in
Yep.
Walmart. Is it like that down there, or is it a totally different vibe?
I think so. Nashville is such a like melting pot. Like I've got friends that are from the Northeast. I've got friends that are from Texas. I've got friends that are from Florida. Like I've got a lot of friends from the upper Midwest down there. And like everybody is in the same boat. Everybody's a transplant. Everybody's trying to make friends and trying to make connections. So everybody's super nice. And I think people are truly genuine about like wanting to see you do well, which I need to work on a little bit because like it's hard for me because like I sometimes get a little jealous, which I think is normal, but I think everybody is truly like, how can I help you? Because like I believe in you, I believe in what you're doing, and like it's just a really great community of people who really care about making the best music that we can. So
That's really awesome.
yeah, it really. I mean, I'm sure there's pockets of it, like as you move up through the ranks, where there's a little more of that like Nashville like competitiveness and like what you see on the Nashville TV show or Monarch or whatever it is.
Great show, by the way. I can't believe it got canceled.
What,
Monarch.
Monarch. I didn't watch it. I met the guy that played one of the actors in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's from like his name's Callum. I don't know what his last name is, but I played around and he talked to me afterwards, and I was like, oh, you're on a TV show. That's kind of cool.
Not just any TV show. It's a TV show with Trace Adkins on it.
Right. Yeah, he's from like Scotland or something too, and he's got like a American accent and
That's
on the
awesome.
TV show. So
Small world.
small world. Small town Nashville, guys. Come on down.
So circling back to you saying you sometimes get jealous about other people doing well, I think that's actually a good thing because it just shows how badly you want it and how invested you are in making this happen, which that's step number one into making it happen is wanting it.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's just such a normal thing too, especially when you've been there for a good amount of time, like I feel like I have been, and you start to see people getting publishing deals or whatever it is. You're kind of like, oh, is it ever going to happen for me? But it's more so like on myself of like I need to step it up and like let's go, let's get to hit that next level type thing. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your songwriting, what's your process like? Do you come up with like a melody first? Is it a lyric? Is like how do you get that inspiration and then turn it into something you can actually hear?
Yeah, so I'm a really big like ideas guy, and so like I have a list in my phone of like titles or song ideas that I think could be cool, and then I either I write a good amount of songs that are just by myself, so I'll just sit down in my room and I'm like, okay, I'm writing this title, I'm gonna sit here till I get it. And sometimes that takes 2 days, sometimes that takes 2 hours. So but most of the time I'll get into a room with 2 other co-writers and we'll kind of just throw spaghetti at the wall, and whatever title is in the room today is a song we try to write. And it's a lot like putting a puzzle together, and we typically start with that idea or that hook as kind of our like focal point, and then we just kind of map the story out from that original idea and kind of work backwards a little bit from that. So, but yeah, I love a good melody. Obviously, my strong suit, I think, is the ideas and the storyline of everything. And my friend Brittany is she's the big melody person.
Okay.
So I'm always like, Brittany, what kind of melody do you hear here?
It's all about like surrounding yourself with the right people too, because I
Right.
mean it's like building a bar trivia team. This is what I compare it to. You got to have the person who's the expert at sports. You got to have the music person. You got to have the history buff.
You do.
You got to have all the right people coming together to create the perfect team.
That's a great analogy. I'm going to use that.
I host
In
a
the-
lot of
in the
bar
writing.
trivia. How many people like is your core group of writing people?
I'd say probably have it. Now my core group is really small. I'd say I probably have like 4 or 5 people that I really like turn to write a good song with.
That's awesome.
So otherwise, it's a lot of people I'm writing with for the first time, or people where I write a song with them like once every couple months. Type
Okay.
thing. So
And then, so these writers' rounds, I keep seeing stuff pop up on TikTok about them
Yeah.
because I must have searched something and the algorithm's like, she needs to see more of this.
yeah.
So how does a writers' round work, come about for people like me who have no concept of it?
Yeah.
Can you explain it to us?
So it's basically like an open mic. And sometimes you can like hop into these writers' rounds on a whim. Sometimes they're like pre-scheduled. A lot of the ones that I play are going to be like scheduled like a couple months in advance.
Oh, wow.
And it's usually yourself and 3 other writers, and you're sharing the stage at the same time, and you basically just go down the line and share an original song that you wrote and tell the story behind it. And it's really fun when you're with with your friends, like the people you co-write with, because then you have like a fun little banter.
Yeah.
And you can like each give your own perspective on the song when you're like introducing it and stuff. So
Feed off each other, pick on each other a little bit.
yeah, that's when I have the most fun at writers rounds. Like if I go to the listening room down in Nashville, like when they all know each other and they're all like feeding off each other and just bantering like that. Like when you can see that they're actually friends, like that just makes it more fun and memorable for me.
So if people are heading down to Nashville, is this like a ticketed event people like pay to get into, or is it just like you happen to be walking by a bar and
Yeah.
one's happening?
Well, you probably could just walk by and see one happening, not downtown, but most of the ones I play are free
Okay.
for people to just hop in. Now, like places like the Bluebird or the Listening Room, those are going to be typically the ticketed
Okay.
shows, which are 100% worth trying to go to, in my opinion, because you're going to see like people who've written #1 songs and like all that.
You get to see the faces behind the lyrics pretty much.
Yeah, and it's cool to hear their take on the song that they wrote. You know, like it's the people who poured their heart onto the page for Luke Bryan or Jason Aldean to
Mhm.
sing it on the radio. And it's cool to hear their take on it because it changes sometimes from the writing room to when you release your record, you know?
I'm just so happy that you're finding success and you're finally getting to just focus on music and not have it on the back burner.
Yeah.
So long-term goal here, like I know no one likes to hear, what do you want to do in 5 years? But like in a perfect world, if you could poof, wake up tomorrow, what's happening in your life?
Oh gosh. Yes, I love this question though, because like it kind of puts things in perspective. And plus I saw a TikTok this morning about a journaling prompt where it's like, write a journal entry where it's like you a year from now,
Oh, that's
and
actually a really good idea.
where you're going to be and all that sort of thing. But yeah, like 5 years from now, like I would love to be on the road. Like I want to play full band shows and like be opening for somebody, or I'd love to have a song on the radio. That'd be cool. I don't know. Like I just would love to reach a bigger audience with my music, and grow this little community that I have of people who believe in what I'm doing. So I guess that's a short answer.
Yeah.
I could go longer too. Like I want to play the Grand Ole Opry in 5 years. Like I want to quit parking cars. I mean, I don't know if that means having a record deal or if that means doing it on my own or a pub deal. Like I still quite haven't figured out like if that is even what I need, because I see guys like and there's a great duo out of Alabama called Muscadine Bloodline. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Haven't.
But they're 100% independent. They kill it on Spotify, on Apple Music. They're selling out like mid-sized shows, and like they're making a decent living, like doing it on their own. And so like I see that, and I'm like, that's a great opportunity, because like then you have full creative control of what kind of music you're putting out. Like you don't have to worry about like an album cycle. Like you can just keep pumping out music. Like, I mean, even like guys like Zach Bryan, who is now signed, but I mean, he was doing that. He did that all on his own. You know, he didn't have a label who got him where he was. It was all him. So
It's community building.
I mean, that's what it boils down to, is just bringing one person in who believes in you at a time, and playing shows and gaining those people who believe in you. So,
and social media plays such a huge part of that.
It does. I haven't quite cracked it with that. I mean, obviously TikTok is huge, but like, how does it translate?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like, will those TikTok people who liked a video of me guessing country songs come to a show?
Yeah.
Or like follow me on Spotify? Like, it's hard to connect the two. Obviously, like I have great friends that have had awesome success on there, but I'm like, does it really train? Like, how hardcore of a fan are they?
Yeah.
So
it's a real finicky beast, because like
is.
one day you're on top of the world and the next day you got 200 views and you feel like you should just delete it right off your phone.
Right. It's a numbers game, and I'm excited to start putting out new music, to start promoting that on there, because I have a friend who does pop music, and she absolutely crushes it on TikTok, but she was an early adapter. But she still crushes it. Like she'll post a TikTok and like get thousands of pre-saves on her song that she's coming out with.
Wow.
So I'm excited to like experiment with that and posting more music related content.
Yeah.
As we get closer to new music. So
Just got to keep pushing it out there and hope for the best.
Yes.
That's all anyone can do on that dang app.
So if you are listening and haven't yet, follow us on TikTok.
Yes, please do. Drop your handle.
At Aaron Clafton. Pretty simple.
Easy enough. So new music on the way?
It is on the way. It is almost done. I have one song that's coming out in February. It's called Things You Do When You're Young. I haven't quite figured out the dates because of trying to get back to Nashville, and I need to get album art and stuff back. But I'm hoping first half of February I'll have a new single out. And yeah, I'm so excited about this new music.
So is this single part of an EP?
Yes, eventually.
Okay.
So I was in the studio, early this fall or late summer, and we recorded 4 songs, and I'm going to be releasing them all throughout next year. So
That's exciting.
I'm really excited, and it'll be an EP eventually. But with how like Spotify and Apple Music works, like, and just people's attention spans, you have to release them all as singles, unfortunately. Yeah. So we're looking at fall of next year. Everything should be out.
Okay.
So
that should make for a pretty busy summer, though.
It will, and I'm excited to feel busy again, because I haven't put music out since 2020.
Oh my gosh, has it really been that long?
It has been that long. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I've been sitting on these songs for a minute, and I'm excited to share them with everybody.
So album artwork, you're stuck here, so you can't go home and get that done.
Hopefully she'll be kind to me and reschedule my photo shoot. We're not going to be in a studio. We're going to be outside. So hopefully the snow's melted.
Yeah.
Down there.
I saw they got another dusting over Christmas.
They did. And everyone was freaking out.
Whole city shuts down.
Yep.
So that's exciting. And then promote it throughout the summer. Do you have plans to like do any pop-up shows? I know last year you were doing backyard shows for people.
Yes. And that was my first time doing like a tour of backyard concerts, and it was so much fun. I loved every minute of it. Like it was just a blast. Like I got to hang out in people's backyards, and sometimes we would go out to bars afterwards and like hang out. Like it was just so much fun, and I got to meet every single person that was there. I got iced.
Oh my gosh.
At like pretty much every show that I played. The first one I did was back in, I think it was May, was the first one I did last May. The group like iced me. They put like a Smirnoff Ice in my tip bucket. And I had never been iced before up until then.
Oh my God. Wow. That's
I mean,
It's a long streak of not getting iced.
I know, because I probably would have been a little not a good sport about it, like if one of my friends did it. Anyway, they iced me. I got down on one knee, chugged that, and I posted it on TikTok. And then afterwards, every single house concert iced me going
It became
forward.
a thing.
It became a thing. So I'm curious to see what the thing will be next year.
That's, honestly, you should have made shirts that said, I iced Aaron Clafton. And,
I'm going to.
Yep.
I'm going to. That's a great thing.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing this coming summer is I'm going to do house concerts again. And hopefully I can play more shows in new backyards or new barns or whatever. And yeah, it's been fun. So
Are your dates filling up fast for that, or you still got the few openings?
I haven't posted a submission form for that yet. Probably after I get one or two singles out, I'll start posting more about that.
Yeah.
Getting more shows booked. But yeah, I had a blast. Like there was a few of them that were on lakes, and they took me out on the boat afterwards or before and got to hang out. Like it was like Midwest or Minnesota summer stereotypical event. Like it was so fun.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, you can't go to someone's lake in the summer without them going, oh, let's just take a lap around the
Yeah,
lake. Someone
yep.
grab the cooler. Come on, let's go. We're going for a lap. Fill up your drinks.
Yep, it was a blast. Like it was probably the highlight of my summer was playing those shows.
So another summer of that. That'll be so fun.
Yes, and then hopefully next summer I'll be hitting it big with my music coming out,
Yeah.
and I can play like maybe Firefest again, or who knows.
You opening up the show that year was just a blast.
I don't know what I was expecting. One, I was nervous as hell.
You were nervous?
I was so nervous. Like me and my band drove up the day before. Like they had sent us an email and they were like, "Oh, if you and your band want to go golfing or fishing or they had a bunch of different activities that you could choose from doing." I was like, one of the guys was like, "Oh, we should go fishing or something." I was like, "I don't know. I think I just need to stay at home and like think about the performance and all this thing." And they kind of looked at me like, "Okay, this guy's crazy." And finally I get home and I'm like, I think I'm gonna go fishing. And that was the best thing, because I was a nervous wreck the entire time, because like that was my first like full band show that was out of state, and I had guys from Nashville that I was paying to come play, and I was wearing a lot of hats, and I was like, I can't mess this up. And so yeah, once I got on stage and played a song, my brother was in the crowd and he was probably loud and obnoxious, so I apologize to anybody who was standing by him. But he had like a beer, and he was like, "Aaron, this beer's for you." And I was like, I'm not walking up, because they had like a little walkout.
Yeah, there's a little catwalk.
And I was like, I am not leaving the vicinity of this microphone, because I was plugged in. I didn't have wireless anything.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh. And he kept yelling about this beer. And so I finally walk out there and I take this beer and I like take a big swig. And after that, I was like, okay, we're good.
Yep.
We're good. Nerves are gone.
You can survive taking 3 steps onto a catwalk. You can do anything.
Yes. Yes. So Firefest was so much fun. I enjoyed every minute of that, because it was just, I had no idea what to expect. Like, because I was the first guy up there, and I was like, there's going to be like one row of people around the fence for me, because I was like, people know me here in town, but like not like they know Dustin Lynch,
Right.
And so I was like, it'll be empty, it'll be fine. And I get out there and there's like a sea of people who got there early, and I was like, okay, cool.
Deep breaths.
Deep breaths. But yeah, it was so much fun. And I got to play my song Benton County Lemonade, which I love and is going to come out next year. And
Yay.
It's about Benton County. So it was so cool to see people from high school out there, because like I've grown up going to that concert.
Yeah,
And-
Firefest is like a staple in this area.
Yeah.
Everyone goes.
Like I saw Dierks Bentley there. I saw Luke Bryan before he was Luke Bryan. I was like, man, this is cool. It really was a full circle moment for me.
And you had a great crowd of people out there cheering you on.
Yeah,
Everyone had the blue Aaron Clafton shirts at the can. I still have mine.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, those were great. So it was so cool to see all that.
Yeah.
And like signed shirts afterwards. I was like, what? You want my signature? Like, this is weird.
You want me to write on your shirt?
I was like, sorry if I ruin your t-shirt.
So humble. No, you did great, and I really hope that they get you back on that stage because
someday
you crushed it.
Someday. It was a lot of fun, and I learned so much from playing that about just how to put on a show, and it was a long set. It was almost an hour. Now that I was like, I don't have that many songs.
Just start them over from the top.
Right? Yeah.
No, you did wonderful.
Thank you.
Firefest is just such a good time.
Yeah. I didn't go last year. How was it last year?
I didn't make it last year.
Okay.
I had another commitment that I was tied to and couldn't be out there. And I'm like, I want to be at Firefest because the whole time I was at the other thing, I'm thinking I should be in Cold Spring.
Yes. Was it Midland was the headliner?
Yeah, it was Midland last year.
Those guys are crazy.
Oh my gosh, they're nuts. They're just wild. I saw them at Moondance, the last Moondance that happened up in Walker.
Oh, yeah.
And they were so drunk when they got out on stage that they didn't even know the words to their own songs.
Oh, gosh.
They cleaned up their act about halfway through and they started remembering their songs.
I think Moondance they have some other country festival happening, don't they?
So what happened with Moondance is must have been 2021 was the last year.
Okay.
And they had all the radio DJs go up on stage and say, it's the last Moondance. And so we all said, it's the last Moondance. And then last year, out of nowhere, they're like, oh, we're doing like a mini Moondance.
Oh, okay.
And Jamie Johnson and Ashley McBride are coming to play.
Okay.
So they basically had Moondance.
Was it a 2-day thing?
It was a 2-day
one?
thing.
Okay.
But the year before, they had us all go up on stage and say multiple times that it was over.
Gosh.
And so this year, and I don't think they had the turnout last year that they were expecting. And Ashley McBride actually had to cancel last minute. So she didn't even make it up to Walker.
Oh, was that when she fell off that horse?
Yes.
Okay.
And no one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Because that came out like months later. So I think they just didn't have the crowd that they were expecting. So now they're only doing the rock Moondance.
Oh, okay.
So there's no more country.
Man, I also grew up going to the country Moondance. And I had so much fun there.
My favorite thing about that one is that it was the crowd skewed just a little bit older.
Yes.
Where you felt safe. Because We Fest does not feel safe sometimes.
Right. And there's not as many assholes in the crowd either.
Yes. It's all like wonderfully financially stable middle-aged people who are just there for a nice weekend away.
Yep. I had my first beer at Moondance.
Aww.
Yep. Back when I was of age.
Yes.
In quotations.
Very much 21. Mm-hmm. First beer, first experience with alcohol. Oh, Moondance is such a blast. I miss it. R.I.P. to a good one.
Ugh, miss it.
Pour one out for Moondance if you're able to. Awesome. So new music to look forward to in 2023.
Yes.
And anything else big on the horizon for you?
No, just music. I'm really excited about this new batch of songs. I feel like I kind of had this epiphany like 2 years ago, maybe during the pandemic, of like I grew up kind of taking for granted where I come from, and I mean I think everybody kind of goes through that where they're like, I just want to get out of where I'm from, and like once you get out and you live your life and you get older, you kind of realize like, hey, like this place wasn't as bad. Like it was pretty great. Like it had a lot of like it served its purpose for me, and it's exactly what I needed when I was a kid to grow up here. And you kind of have that realization of like, this is not a bad place to like raise a family someday or whatever. And so I had that epiphany, and like a lot of these songs are here in Minnesota, and I'm so excited because I feel like people are going to really connect with it. And it's very honest to my experience growing up in Minnesota and my experience just growing up in general. And, yeah, I'm really excited that it's honest and it tells my story a little bit, and it hopefully can tell other people's stories who live here too. So
yeah,
I'm trying to make Minnesota proud as best I can. So
well, and if there's one thing Minnesotans love, it's things that have to do with Minnesota.
Right.
So if you can pander to that,
right,
we love it.
So
I'm super excited to hear these songs.
Thank you so much. I'll have to play them for you after.
Yes, please do.
So
I'm getting a sneak peek. Be jealous, everyone. Aaron, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell everyone where they can find you online because it's important.
Yeah, so you can follow me on TikTok at Aaron Clafton. You can follow me on basically any social media at Aaron Clafton. I would really appreciate a follow on Spotify or Apple Music if you have that. So yeah, stay tuned. So,
New music soon.
yes.
Yay! And hopefully you can get home safely.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Small Town Tourist Podcast. I'm your host, Abby Minky Graves. Our theme song is That's My Hometown by Aaron Simmons. You can find him online, aaronsimmonsmusic.com, and wherever you stream music. Be sure to check out the blog, thesmalltowntourist.com, and follow on Instagram @thesmalltowntourist.